You think you know The Godfather? Think again. Behind the iconic whispers, power plays, and blood-soaked betrayals lies a vault of secrets that even die-hard fans missed. From Marlon Brando's off-script antics to Al Pacino nearly being fired before becoming a legend, this masterpiece almost fell apart before it made history. Wait till you see which real mobsters inspired key characters, and how the cast had to dodge actual mafia heat during filming. Plus, we'll show you what the stars look like now and who's still carrying the Corleone legacy today. Did you know Robert De Niro learned an entire Sicilian dialect just for a few scenes? Or that Brando stuffed his cheeks with cotton only to later upgrade to a custom-made mouthpiece? Stick around because we're peeling back the curtain of the drama that happened off-camera, from secret romances to last-minute script rewrites that changed movie history. Whether you're a loyal fan or just stepping into the family business, Past Paradise is taking you inside the Godfather world like never before. Not many people know about the accident that almost killed The Godfather before it even started. The Godfather was almost a failure before it became a movie legend. Some people at Paramount didn't believe in Francis Ford Coppola's vision because they thought that his emphasis on realism and use of unknown actors such as Al Pacino would ruin the project. 2 or 3 times, the company was on the verge of firing Coppola, and Marlon Brando was a risky choice due to his negative image. It was a perilous place to work due to limited funds, mob interference, and studio politics. Pacino almost had to be changed in the middle of a shoot at one point. A few key friends in Coppola's tenacity saved the movie, though. It was a gem that changed American movies forever, but it could have been a forgotten flop. Everyone was shocked by Marlon Brando's unique way of staying lazy on set. Famously, Marlon Brando didn't memorize lines while shooting. He was known for being innovative and unpredictable. He read his lines without practicing on the set of The Godfather, where he put secret cue cards all over the place, even on teammates like Robert Duvall. As a way to maintain his natural acting, Brando employed this technique, which many people perceived as lazy. He believed that reading his lines out loud refreshed his performance and made it more personal. There were times when producers and players were angry, but the results were strong. People used to criticize his unusual way of doing things, but now acting schools teach it as a brave, if controversial, way to get into a character's heart. While making the movie, Francis Ford Coppola almost lost his job. A lot of company pressure and creative disagreements almost cut Francis Ford Coppola's time on The Godfather short more than once. When he cast actors, especially Al Pacino and Marlon Brando, Paramount execs didn't trust him, and they didn't like that he insisted on shooting in New York to keep things real. According to Coppola, he was almost fired 3 or 4 times after hearing harsh criticism from producer Robert Evans. Tensions were still high after he won an Oscar for co-writing Patton. A brave move by Coppola that eventually saved his job as director was firing some of his team before they were even hired back. Brando fought back when the studio tried to cut this famous line. In early draft changes, Paramount execs almost got rid of one of the most famous lines in movie history. "I'm going to make an offer he can't refuse." The line made studio leaders nervous because they thought it sounded too dramatic and could hurt the film's realistic tone. It was powerful, though, and Marlon Brando demanded it stay. He thought it showed how dangerous and powerful Don Corleone was without being noticed. Some say Brando said he would leave the set if the line were taken out. The line not only stayed, but it also became the movie's signature term because of his firm belief. As a testament to its greatness, it's become a part of pop culture. So how did Al Pacino get the part of Michael Corleone when his audition went badly? Paramount officials said Al Pacino's first test for the role of Michael Corleone was not very good because he was too small, too quiet, and lacked film presence. Nobody wanted Al after his first reading, Diane Keaton remembered. She was already cast as Kay. Directors Francis Ford Coppola and Michael Moore were still sure, even though Pacino's performance in The Panic in Needle Park made them very angry. To showcase Pacino's talent, Coppola fought hard and even set up multiple screen tests. In the restaurant murder scene, things started to change and the company realized how great he was. Though the chances were against him, Pacino got the part and changed the way anti-heroes are portrayed in movies for generations to come. It was filmed with real mobsters, and they had a terrifying request. Actual mafia members were said to have closely watched the making of The Godfather because they were worried about how their world would be presented. The Italian-Americans Civil Rights League members, who were supposedly backed by organized crime, asked that the word mafia be taken out of the script entirely. According to stories that came up again in 2025, their scary threat was clear. The movie couldn't use any offensive language or else bad things would happen. A new story was made possible by the fact that producer Al Ruddy talked with them in person and agreed to their request. Contrary to what you might think, this deal helped the movie gain respect among real mobsters, who later praised its accuracy and even visited the set. It's said that a famous scene was made up on the spot. Some of the most memorable moments of making The Godfather occurred when the actors improvised on the spot. Marlon Brando added an orange peel to make a monster's face completely out of the blue in the scene where Don Corleone plays with his grandson in the yard. Coppola loved how real the kid actors' laugh and Brando's fun growl were, so he left them in a way that no conversation could. This unplanned moment gave the hated Don a rare look of warmth. Many people consider it one of the most famous and poignant scenes in the movie. Does Vito have a cat on his lap? Unexpected history behind the total accident. There was never a scene in the script where Don Vito Corleone is shown comfortably petting a cat while doing his job. As the shooting was about to start, director Francis Ford Coppola put the stray cat on Marlon Brando's lap out of the blue. The cat's humming was so loud that it almost ruined the sound, but Brando, who was known for being a genius at improvising, jumped at the chance. But the scene's menacing quietness stuck with me. Vito looked weaker when the cat was around, but his strength doubled when it was gone. This spontaneous moment is still one of the most famous mistakes in movie history, occurring out of the pure artistic intent in 2025. Which is why James Caan wouldn't calm Sonny down. It wasn't a coincidence that James Caan's performance as Sonny Corleone was full of volatile energy. Even though studio bosses wanted a more controlled performance, Caan demanded that Sonny's anger stay absolute and unrestrained. He believed that Sonny's mood swings were genuine and crucial to the character's mental development. It's well known that Caan and action leader Paul Baxley beat Carlo up on the street without Coppola's prior approval. They accomplished everything in one day. Sonny's character was made more complex by Caan's dedication to realism, which included biting his fingers in a fit of quiet anger. Sonny became a movie firestorm because he said no. The scene that cost the most and almost put the production out of business. One of the most expensive parts of making The Godfather was the wedding scene that comes at the beginning of the movie. A vast outdoor set in Staten Island was used for several days of filming. To create the illusion of a genuine Italian-American wedding, hundreds of extras donned outfits from the 1940s. Live bands performed, and a lavish spread of food was served. Realist Francis Ford Coppola wouldn't let anything get in the way. Everything had to be true to the period. Paramount threatened to shut down because the costs went way over the original budget. In film schools today, in 2025, it's still used as an example of how artistic desire can almost ruin a masterpiece. Pictures of Al Pacino from The Godfather. It's remarkable to see how Al Pacino went from being a relatively unknown stage actor in 1972 to a movie star by 2025. Based on early pictures, Michael Corleone is played by a thin, focused young man who was chosen against the studio's wishes. He gives off a quiet threat. The actor, now 85 years old, continues to work in movies after more than 50 years. He was most recently in Modi, a biopic directed by Johnny Depp. But his eyes still have the same fire, even though his face and hair are worn down from years of performing. A man's face has become so deeply ingrained in American film history that photo retrospectives reveal how he's evolved over the years. The Godfather changed Diane Keaton's life in a big way. Diane Keaton's life took a strange turn after her role in The Godfather made her famous in 1972. Later, Keaton said that she felt like a stranger on the mostly male set and didn't know where she fit in the story's order. Even though she played Kay Adams with quiet power, her role in Annie Hall, which won her an Oscar and helped redefine the genre of love comedy after The Godfather, made her Woody Allen's muse. She never got married and adopted 2 children when she was in her 50s. But her personal life remained unconventional. Not only is Keaton famous for her acting by 2025, but also for being herself, dressing in unconventional ways, and not adhering to Hollywood rules. Where did Talia Shire go after the trilogy? She played Connie Corleone. Once Talia Shire finished playing Connie Corleone in The Godfather Part 3 in 1990, she kept a low profile and worked on a variety of acting projects. Later, she appeared in independent movies like I Heart Huckabees and Palo Alto, following her role as Adrian in Rocky V, which was a big hit with fans. Shire, who is now 79 years old, is still involved in the arts in 2025. She sometimes coaches young artists and helps fund film projects through the Coppola family's creative companies. Along with her famous parts, her boys, including director Robert Schwartzman, have carried on her famous name. Before he became a Hollywood star, Robert Duvall was Tom Hagen. Robert Duvall's quiet determination and emotional reserve were shown when he played Tom Hagen in the Godfather series. It was a turning point in his career. With roles in Apocalypse Now, Tender Mercies, for which he got an Academy Award, and the well-reviewed movie Lonesome Dove, Duvall showed a wider range of acting skills. By 2025, Duvall will be recognized as one of the most adaptable actors in Hollywood. He's also known for being honest and not trying to fit into fan culture. Throughout his career, he went from being a quiet conciliere to a Western hero and a dramatic force. His impact lives on. This movie brought Marlon Brando's dying career back to life. With movies like Mutiny on the Bounty and a reputation for being tough on set, Marlon Brando's career was in steep decline by the late 1960s. Hollywood didn't want to work with him because they thought he'd be too unstable to insure. Some people thought it was a considerable risk when Francis Ford Coppola cast him as Don Vito Corleone. For a star of Brando's caliber, having to perform was unexpected. It was terrific, though, and he won an Oscar for it. It also revived his career overnight. Many people agree that The Godfather saved Brando from being forgotten in movies by the year 2025. Hollywood lost a legend too soon. John Cazale's sad history. One of the most moving stories in Hollywood is still about John Cazale's short but exciting career. The Godfather, The Conversation, The Godfather Part 2, Dog Day Afternoon, and The Deer Hunter were the only 5 movies he was in between 1972 and 1978 that were all nominated for Best Picture. The Deer Hunter was being filmed when Cazale was told he had lung cancer that would kill him. He insisted on finishing the role with the help of his then-partner Meryl Streep and co-star Robert De Niro. His achievements will always be remembered as he passed away at the age of 42. Film schools still look at his work as a model for how to play different characters in 2025. How Sofia Coppola got the Part 3 of The Godfather job. A last-minute emergency, not just favoritism, led to Sofia Coppola being cast as Mary Corleone in The Godfather Part 3. Although Winona Ryder was originally cast, she fainted from exhaustion just before shooting started in Rome. Francis Ford Coppola, the director, turned to his daughter as a realistic answer because the production was already behind schedule and stress was rising. Sofia seemed like the right person to portray innocence and weakness. After the incident, Sofia said in interviews in 2025 that it didn't break her, instead it made her stronger. Her successful job as a director began with that critical event. Name the actor who played an extra in The Godfather and later became a massive star. Some minor players quietly began careers that would later skyrocket. While Brando and Pacino were the stars of The Godfather, Danny Aiello was one of them. He received an Oscar nomination for Do the Right Thing, even though he wasn't listed as a bodyguard. Meanwhile, Gianni Russo played Carlo Rizzi, even though he'd never been in an acting role before. He later became a regular in movies about the mafia. In the baptism scene, Sofia Coppola is seen as a baby. She'd go on to become a famous director. From 2025 onwards, these scenes that were once overlooked are now praised for having interesting film history roots. The actor almost broke his back while filming the first scene of The Godfather, which took 3 days. It was tough on actor Salvatore Corsiti to film the scary opening scene of The Godfather, in which the Undertaker, Bonacera, begs for justice. It took 3 days of hard work. It was challenging for Corsito to convey Francis Ford Coppola's emotional weight and exact lines because he didn't speak much English and wasn't accustomed to Hollywood's fast pace. Filmmaker Gordon Willis insisted on perfection, which made the dark lighting and long takes even harder. After the last take, Corsito allegedly passed out from exhaustion. Around the year 2025, this scene is praised for both its great theme and the hard work that went into making it, a hidden success of film endurance. Behind-the-scenes fight that no one remembers that split the cast. Tensions were building behind the scenes between key cast members of The Godfather, especially between James Caan and Richard Castellano, who played Clemenza. Reports from 2025 stated that fights occurred on set due to disagreements over acting and screen time. It was challenging for Castellano to work with Caan because Castellano was cautious and didn't appreciate the randomness of Caan's style. As the wedding scene was being filmed, their disagreement got worse, and Francis Ford Coppola had to step in to calm them down. A source claims it played a role in Castellano's absence from The Godfather Part 2, where Clemenza was entirely written out, although this was never made public at the time. It's not a myth that the horsehead scene was a prop. Not movie magic, but frighteningly real, the famous horsehead scene in The Godfather. Director Francis Ford Coppola rejected that first fake prop because he thought it looked too fake to achieve the emotional effect he was aiming for. The company instead got a real horse's head from a New Jersey dog food plant, where the animal was already set to be killed. The head was used in the famous bed scene without being disclosed to the actor ahead of time, as it had been packed in dry ice. One of the most divisive examples of reality in movie history is still this choice, made in 2025. It took days of filming for the cast to eat authentic Italian food. To maintain continuity between takes, the cast of The Godfather had to eat authentic Italian food for several days while filming the wedding scene. They served rigatoni, sausages, ravioli, and antipasti every day, prepared by cooks from New York's Italian neighborhoods, as Francis Ford Coppola insisted on authenticity. There were rumors that actors like James Caan and Richard Castellano grew tired of eating all the time, and some joked that they gained weight while filming. Often, extras had to eat in front of the camera for hours at a time. Fans still praise Coppola's engaging direction for his dedication to cooking scenes that are true to life in 2025. This is what Marlon Brando did instead of memorizing his lines. Not memorizing lines on the set of The Godfather wasn't just a sign of laziness for Marlon Brando, it was an intentional way of playing. In line with his belief in the Stanislavski method, he believed that unplanned delivery made the acts more realistic. Because Brando didn't want to practice, he had cue cards hidden in props or taped to co-stars all over the set. He even read lines from cards held just off camera during violent scenes. But Brando said that real people don't speak in practice lines, which made some cast and crew angry. Actors are still debating his unusual approach to working, but it's said to have contributed to his exceptional realism. In the most tense scene of the whole movie, there's no music. People are aware that Francis Ford Coppola and Walter Murch, the sound director for The Godfather, intentionally omitted music from the famous dinner scene, where Michael Corleone kills Sollozzo and McCluskey. Experts on movies still praise this choice as a way to boost the psychological stress in the scene in 2025. People who watch the film must focus on the background noises such as the clinking of silverware, whispers, and the roar of the train. Without any emotional cues, the silence reveals the chaos within Michael's mind, making it one of the most gripping scenes in movie history. It provides viewers with a genuine, engaging experience that draws them into the moment. There have been parodies of Michael's kiss of death for decades. "I know it was you, Fredo," Michael Corleone says after giving his brother Fredo a shivering kiss in The Godfather Part 2. One of the most heartbreaking betrayals in movie history was "You Broke My Heart." This kiss happened at a party in Havana on New Year's Eve and meant that Fredo was going to die. It also meant that Michael would always be bad. From The Simpsons to popular TikTok videos, this moment has been the subject of many versions in movies, TV shows, and on the internet as of 2025. The kiss became a cultural slang term for betrayal because it was both seductive and perilous. This shows that one kiss can be remembered for generations to come. How ideas from The Godfather changed mafia rules in real life. Murderers in real life began using plot points from The Godfather after its release in 1972, making the line between fiction and reality less clear. Words like "I'm going to make him an offer he can't refuse" became common in the criminal world, as shown in retrospectives from 2025. Some mobsters' friends said they tried to be as calm as Don Corleone and even used the movie to teach their younger partners how to emulate this calm demeanor. Loyalty, omerta, and family order were shown in a way that both supported and romanticized established rules. Criminals were acting more like the Corleone family in movies, which police said was a change in how organized crime was seen by the public. It's still controversial, but this movie beat The Godfather at the Oscars. With 8 Oscars, Cabaret won the 45th Academy Awards in 1973, making it the most successful movie of that year. Many people were surprised that Francis Ford Coppola didn't win Best Director for his groundbreaking work. Still, Bob Fosse's Cabaret won in that category, along with the Best Actress and Best Cinematography. Experts in film history continue to debate this issue in 2025, with some arguing that The Godfather had a significantly greater impact on culture than Cabaret. The film with the most wins didn't win the top prize, which is a rare occurrence. Every time pop culture talked about The Godfather, The Godfather has influenced many movies, TV shows, songs, and even advertisements since its release in 1972. Many shows, including The Simpsons and Despicable Me, have made fun of it, from the baptism footage to the horse head scene. The concepts of loyalty and power, as exemplified by Don Corleone, are also featured in shows like Breaking Bad and The Sopranos. People have also used its famous lines in political talks. As of 2025, TikTok users continue to remix scenes to make them funnier or more dramatic. This demonstrates that The Godfather remains a living culture as new generations of stories and fans continually find innovative ways to engage with it. Who did Don Corleone get his ideas from in the real mafia? There was more than one real person in the mob who inspired Don Vito Corleone. Frank Costello was the most famous of these. As of 2025, most scholars agree that Costello's reserved personality, political ties, and desire for peace over violence had a significant impact on Mario Puzo's personality. Much like Corleone, Costello wielded considerable power without resorting to violence. He was known as the Prime Minister of the Underworld. Carmine Gambino's quiet direction and George Profaci's olive oil business also affected the Don. And even though Puzo never met a real gangster, he drew on information about them to create a character that changed the portrayal of a crime boss in movies. Some good and some bad things that the actors said about working with Brando. Many people had strong feelings about Marlon Brando's appearance on the set of The Godfather, as shown in retrospectives from 2025. Al Pacino called Brando a master of controlled chaos because he was unpredictable. And Robert Duvall said Brando's realism was refreshing. However, Duvall did say that Brando's failure to practice made the group angry. Others, like Richard Castellano, thought his improvisations were annoying. Diane Keaton called him mysterious and magnetic. Although Brando often left gifts in changing rooms, he could be moody and cold when he wasn't on set. People had different views about him because he used cue cards and didn't care about proper planning. Stars are still not sure whether working with him was brilliant or crazy, even after decades. It's not what you think. FBI agents did watch the set. Of course, FBI agents were at the set of The Godfather, but not to oversee the actors or the plot. They were interested in the real-life mobster actors who often came to the set, especially for scenes shot in New York, as shown in released papers from 2025. Organized crime types were drawn to the show by accident because they were interested in how they were portrayed. During this time, the FBI took photographs of individuals they knew and listened in on conversations to gather information. It was done in secret, so most of the cast and crew were unaware of the monitoring. The film's realism helped attract real criminals, which turned the set into a goldmine of information. This message was cleverly hidden in the movie by Francis Ford Coppola. It was revealed in an interview in 2025 that The Godfather has a strong but subtle message about the decline of the American dream. Francis Ford Coppola is renowned for employing multiple layers of symbolism in his films, from warm, golden tones in the Corleone home to scenes that get colder and darker. He said it was on purpose for the movie to look that way. According to Michael Corleone, it illustrates how power can corrupt family values. Additionally, Coppola noted that the movie featured numerous visual references to Roman imperialism, which contributed to the theme of power and its eventual fall. In film schools and academic circles, this secret storyline is still being analyzed. It took an insane amount of time to film the wedding scene like it was real. It took almost a week to film, and the wedding scene in The Godfather felt like a real party. More than 700 actors, live bands, and authentic Italian food made fresh daily were used in the scene that was filmed on Staten Island. This added to the reality, but it took longer to shoot because Francis Ford Coppola supported spontaneity. We now know from behind-the-scenes videos from 2025 that the actors often forgot they were acting thanks to the footage. Real wine and dancing added to the realism of the setting, making it the most elaborate wedding ever seen in a movie theater. It was almost entirely different how the trilogy ended. While making The Godfather Part 3, Francis Ford Coppola had a very different ending in mind. This ending would have had a significant impact on Michael Corleone's reputation. Nicholas Pileggi, a screenwriter, stated in an interview in 2025 that early drafts featured Michael dying in the Vatican courtyard immediately after confessing his sins, which was intended to symbolize God's judgment. A more vague ending was preferred by studio execs, who were afraid that viewers would not like such a sad finish. It was a deal that Michael died by himself years later. Coppola has since said that he regrets not following his original plan, which he believed would have resulted in a more beautiful ending to the series. Brando didn't show up to accept his Oscar, the real reason. It shocked everyone in Hollywood when Marlon Brando turned down the Best Actor Oscar for The Godfather in 1973. A Native American campaigner named Sachin Littlefeather declined the Oscar for him instead of going himself. Brando's protest was meant to bring attention to the Wounded Knee standoff and to question how Hollywood portrayed Native Americans, as was proven in retrospectives in 2025. Angry people and cheers prompted the Academy to reconsider its policy of allowing applications to be accepted through a proxy. People consider Brando's stand, even though it was controversial, as a turning point in the history of famous actors. It changed how stars utilize their fame to combat social injustice. When asked what they would change about The Godfather, the actors say, several cast members discussed what they'd do differently if they could revisit The Godfather and experience it again in talks in 2025. Speaking about the role of Michael Corleone, Al Pacino said he initially didn't want it and now feels bad that he didn't take it sooner. Diane Keaton mentioned that she wished she had pushed for Kay's character arc to have more meaning. Because of a pay disagreement, Robert Duvall was upset that he couldn't come back for Part 3. He even said that Talia Shire would have liked to learn more about how Connie changed. Even more legends have creative what-ifs, and these thoughts add to the film's lasting mystery. If you've watched the video till here, that means you've enjoyed the video. Subscribe. Don't forget to turn on the notifications bell icon